welcome to another episode of our biology class. In our last class, we talked about recognizing living things, and remember we talked about the characteristics of living things and differentiated what plants from animals. Today, we'll be talking about levels of organization of life. Levels of what? Organizations of life. And there are 4 levels of organizations of life. We have the cell, we have the tissues, we have the organs, and then we have what we call system. So let's start from the very first one, cells. So cells, as we all know, are the smallest unit of every living thing. Then the next one I said we have tissues. When group of similar cells come together to perform a particular function, we call them what? Tissues. We call them tissues. Then the next one we have is what? Organs. So just like that of tissues, when group of tissues come together to perform a particular function, they are called organs. And then we have the last one, which is what? The system. So group of organs coming together to perform a particular function, we call them what? System. So we have examples of tissues. So we have our xylem, muscles, and so on and so forth. Then when these tissues come together, they form what? Organs. We have things like our skin, the heart, and what? So on and so forth. Then when we come to system, we have our reproductive system, digestive system, then we have the respiratory system, the skeletal system, and so on and so forth. So our next topic will be what? Taxonomy, which is what? Classification of living things. We're going to classify living things based on certain groups. So one thing taxonomy does is that it helps us, what makes it easy when it comes to studying living organisms. All right, so we're going to taxonomy. So we have the domain, kingdom, the phylum, the class, the order, the family, the genus, and then the species. Okay, so let me go back to explaining classification. Like I said before, classification is also known as taxonomy, when we group living things from a very broad aspect to what? Very specific aspect. So the first of all the group is what? The domain. The domain contains more organisms, more living things than every other one. Then we move down towards the kingdom. So when after studying series of organisms in the domain, then we select those that are a little bit similar. All right, that are a little bit similar. They have more features that connects them together. Then we group them into the kingdom. Then in the kingdom, we have differences as well. So once we differentiate organisms, some of them we can also notice that they all have similar features. We also take them apart. We take similar organisms in the kingdom apart, and then we group them into phylum. Alright, so then in the phylum we also do series of groupings depending on their physical features and other things that connect living things together. So in this phylum, some organisms will go out, while others that have similar features will be grouped together in a particular class, in a particular class. Then coming down to the class, we also group them. All right, we'll also group them, and series of organisms that have similar features will also be grouped in a particular class. Others with varying features will also go to what? A class suitable to them. Then in every class, we also will have the order. We have the what? The order. So group of organisms are also what? Grouped again from the class. They are grouped into what? The order. When we come to the order, they are also what? Grouped again. Now in this, as we keep going, they become smaller. They become what? Smaller. Okay, so we'll have large organisms in the domain. After a series of grouping based on similar features, we come down to what? The kingdom. Then the phylum. Then the class. The order. The family. The genus. And what? The species. Okay, so once these are grouped from the kingdom, we group organisms into the phylum, we group them from the phylum, we group them into the class. In a particular class, we group into others. In a particular order, they are grouped into what? Family. In a particular family, they are grouped into genus and what? Into species. Okay, so the genus is the first name given to what? Scientifically, all sorts of scientific names of animals or botanical names of plants. The genus is what? The first name. And then the species are more specific organisms, usually organisms that can breed together, organisms that can what? Stay together, breed together, reproduce. They are what? Grouped in the species. So the domain majorly is grouped into 3. The kingdoms are grouped into 8. We have 8 kingdoms, and then it goes on and on and on. So thank you so much for watching today's video. We're going to have to stop here, and in the next class we'll go into details of each of these classifications. Thank you so much for watching. See you again next time.